Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Rampage or Ram Through. I, Mike Lane, here with Tony Schiavone and with the Jackal. And today on Rampage or Ram Through, it's snowing today, so you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but it is starting to snow. You know, Mike Lane says. Yes, it is, Tony Schiavone said. It is starting to snow this year, right now, and some folks think that it is a snowstorm. Your guess is good as mine if it is or is not. I can tell you one thing right now, the Jackal says. Sorry for that, but it is, it is what it is. Tony Schiavone and, in Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. We do got snow, coming down right now. But this would be the first Rampage or Ram Through of 2024 YL. And we do think it's, going to be a good show. Well, now we got Seth Rollins in the ring now. The Jackal says. I'm not really don't like him, that much. Well, Mike Lane says, I don't know what you got against Seth Rollins, Jackal. I don't know what you got against Seth Rollins either, Jackal. Tony Schiavone says. First off, I want to say, welcome everyone to Rampage or Ram Through, which is supposed to be AEW's answer to Friday Night SmackDown. But it doesn't do very well in the watch time. Anyway, Seth Rollins said, you saw me, I put my TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings on stake. Against Bo Peep yesterday on Friday Night SmackDown. So anyway, we know that the Royal Rumble or the Kingly Thunder is coming up. And we do know that we're going to do it. But when are we going to do ours? Well, that's hard to say. We're going to do ours soon. We just don't know when. Oh yeah, on the 23rd. That's right. We're going to do ours on the 23rd. So the 23rd of the first month is when we're going to do our Kingly Thunder. So I wonder if there's going to be someone else out there who wants to have a match with me, who wants to fight for the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings. We did blow a lot of time, going downstairs, bringing in the wire, and all those other things. But here it is. First off, Seth Rollins, you do now. I know, Seth Rollins, that you need to give me my shot. You need to... You need to give me my shot for the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings. You owe me. First off, Drew McIntyre, I don't think I owe you that. It's not like we had a deal or anything. And if we had a deal, well, I would uphold it. But we don't have a deal. You see, Drew McIntyre, you have become what you hate. You used to talk about on-look and class and sportsmanship and never bitching and never ranting about how things were. Always going back, putting in the work, and then hoping that one day you would get to where you could become or win the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings. But you see, something happened, Drew McIntyre. In your way of thinking, your stand, your mindset, was that you started to guilt everything that ever went wrong. Yeah. So in WWE, you would guilt that on the blood way, the blood road. Yeah, they fucked a lot of folks over. Alright? Then you start guilting instead of bitching and ranting about the unfairness of everything. Then you start saying, oh, well, I don't forgive folks if they wrong me. And if you forgive someone, that makes you weak. I don't know where all of that came from. You know? So, no, I don't think I owe you anything. What you need to owe yourself is that you are only answerable for what you say and what you do. No one else is answerable for what you say and what you do. But you seem to think that everybody is. So no, I don't think I'm going to be giving you a shot for the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings. Not that I don't think that you haven't worked hard enough for it. I just think you spend way too much time bitching and ranting, guilting and shaming everyone else for about how if it wasn't for so-and-so doing this or so-and-so doing that, then you would have been both the WWE heavyweight fighter and the World Heavyweight fighter and the TWF heavyweight fighter and World Heavyweight fighter. You know what? You could be right about that. Oh! And Drew McIntyre just Claymore kicked down Seth Rollins. You think you're greater than me, Seth Rollins. You think you're greater than me because you were a former WWE NXT heavyweight fighter. You were a two-time WWE heavyweight fighter. You were also a two-time WWE. You're also a two-time World Heavyweight fighter. The 26 between FYL one. And you are a World Heavyweight fighter. Well, I'll tell you what. I done almost all of that shit that you did. And you'll give me that match. You know? So give me a fight, Overling. Give me a match keeper. And then we'll do it. Well, it seems Mike Lane said that Drew McIntyre has become that bully, that heel, and that creep that he was against, Mike Lane said. Or maybe this was the true Drew McIntyre. And every time Drew McIntyre was, maybe this is a true Drew McIntyre, because the other one he was doing in the past may have not been a true one, Mike Lane says. Well, who knows what is the true Drew McIntyre? Was it the man who talked about onlooking class? Or was it the man who bitch, ranted, and guilt and shamed at others, Tony Schiavone says. I don't know, Mike and Tony. I'll tell you one thing. I don't really know who was the true Drew McIntyre. Only he knows. But I like him, how he bitch and rants and guilts and shames others, the Jackal says. This is for the TWF World Heavyweight and World Heavyweight winnings. First, he is from Highland, Drew McIntyre. And he is the TWF Heavyweight and World Heavyweight fighter, Seth Rollins. Ding, and then Drew McIntyre wanted to Claymore kick him again. Only this time Seth Rollins got him. He curve stomped it down. Drew McIntyre. It's over. Will we get a win here? 1, 2, 3. Ding. Here is your winner. Here is your winner. And still the TWF Heavyweight and World Heavyweight fighter, Seth Rollins. Well, Seth Rollins is still the TWF, Seth Rollins. Shit. Oh, Drew McIntyre's head does shift. Oh, I didn't know that. Alright. Yeah, I guess so. And Drew McIntyre is not the TWF Heavyweight and World Heavyweight fighter. Seth Rollins is still the TWF Heavyweight and World Heavyweight fighter, Mike Lane says. Yes, he is, Tony Schiavone says. And sadly, he's going to be bitching and ranting. Sadly, he's going to be shaming and guilting other folks now for why he didn't win the match. Well, how do you know that, Mike Lane? How do you know that, Tony Schiavone? How do you know that Drew McIntyre is going to be bitching and ranting and guilting and shaming others for why he didn't win the match? Mike Lane, what? Are you all knowing? I think not, the Jackal says. Well, the truth is, Mike Lane said, that's how Drew McIntyre's been behaving ever since he shifted heel. So, yeah, why wouldn't he, Mike Lane said. I can tell you one thing, Tony Schiavone said, Jonathan Coachman is going to be talking with Drew McIntyre. Alright, take it away, John Coachman. Thank you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. I'm going to be talking with Drew McIntyre here today on Rampage or Ramfru. Alright, Drew McIntyre, you're not the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. Oh, that's right. I'm not the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. And you know who I guilt that on? You know who I shamed that on? Seth Rollins. I guilt it on him. I shame it on him. Well, you did have the match with him, and he did beat you in that match. Yeah. You know? But I'm still going to bitch and rant about not being fair, that I'm not the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. And I will be bitching and ranting. I'll be guilting and shaming everyone. Well, I hope you're not going to be guilting and shaming me, because I had nothing to do with it, Jonathan Coachman says. Jonathan Coachman, why would I be guilting and shaming you for anything? I mean, you should know how it is. You were trusted. You had trust. You know, you had on-look. And your first run in WWF, WWE, between 99 YL to 2008 YL, you were a trusted, on-looked hireling. You think that would have meant anything, and all the shit they did to you in your first run. Then you came back to WWE in your two-diff run, 2007 between YL. I think more like 2007 between YL to 2020 YL. And then, you know, they put you on Raw again. They didn't think that worked. They had you doing the kickoff shows. Then they shit you over from the WWE team to the XFL team. Then you didn't get yielded for it. Then they ghosted you and then they fired you. Well, I'm not going around guilting and shaming folks about how WWF and WWE handled my first run and my two-diff run. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you guilting and shaming others for why you're not the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. Anyway, Jonathan Coachman, I will bitch and rant and shame and guilt anyone I want to. Seth Rollins, your rear is bloody mine. Well, that's my talk with Drew McIntyre. Back to you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. Thank you, Jonathan Coachman, for talking with Drew McIntyre here today on Rampage or Ramfru. That's all the time we got it for Rampage or Ramfru. I, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, and a Jackal. We hope you like Rampage or Ramfru, and we'll see you tomorrow for Collision or Hit.